Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Furu Finance. Early stream today, 10 a.m., but it's going to be a good stream. This is going to be a very informative stream. I think maybe it could shed some light into a lot of things that people were wondering. So, and I'm sorry if you guys had to wake up early and everything, and I'm sorry about the short notice. But we have a great stream for you guys. We're going to be talking about the charts. We're going to be talking about BitBoy's video yesterday. But our main story is going to be the SEC lawsuit into Richard Hart and what we could expect going forward, how this could potentially play out. This is a compilation of my own research. It's not legal advice. Do your own research. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a legal expert by any means. But I did speak to some people who have maybe some experience. And I did do my own research and took some notes and stuff. So we're going to go through that very shortly. And so it's overall very good stream. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're subscribed, take the next step in hitting the bell notification. That would be great. And consider joining the Patreon link in the description as well. And what's going on in the chat? We got Bob Stutz. Morning, Bob. Bob is a patron. We got Chad Donnerschwanz. What's going on, Chad? Always nice to see Chad here. And Giovanni Lopez. What's up, Giovanni? Good to see you. 18 people watching. Smash the like button, please. So without further ado, let's take a look at the charts. See how things are going. So right here, we got Hex is up 3.13% on the day at 8.3 cents, which is nice to see. I was thinking, like, I drew this flag here and then it went up. It broke out of the triangle, broke out of this triangle, and then it like flushed down. So could we be seeing a fractal here where it's breaking out of the triangle and then it just disappoints? That would be bad. That would be bad. But keep in mind, I don't think so. And the reason is because this was the SEC lawsuit, which we're going to be talking about. So unless some serious bad news drops, which it may or may not, I think the market has priced everything in, and I don't think we're going to have a big flush out like that. We've been having too many flush outs. I think people like to talk about how Richard Hart is trying to shake out the weak hands. If he hasn't shaken out the weak hands by now, then I don't think it's possible. Okay. If the weak hand, let me rephrase it because I don't know if he's trying to, but if the weak hands haven't been shaken out by now, then I don't know if it's possible. I think all the weak hands were shaken out. So I think we're only headed up unless there's criminal allegations or something. Or we'll see. Actually, we'll see. During the stream, we're going to be talking about potential scenarios that could play out, and some of them might lead to further flush. Okay, so that's that. We're also going to be looking at Richard Hart's tweets. He's went on a bit of a Twitter storm today, so we're going to be getting into that as well. But how you guys enjoying the content out there? Not a lot of content. So I was thinking, like, I have something at 12. I have something to do at 12. Maybe I have to cancel the stream, but I'm thinking, like, no, I've been canceling the stream way too much. You guys deserve good content, so I'm not going to do that. We got to bring it to you. So we did it. We did it today. What's going on? Franklin, the OG, Spicy Loops, early stream. Yes. Brizology. Big shout out to Brizology. Early stream. Okay. So let's get into some more charts. We got Pulse also up 2.59%. Nice to see. And pulseX is up 2.92%. Okay. Is this the rounded bottom? Is this the rounded bottom? See, everyone that's been accumulating pulseX is the biggest winner at the current moment in time, by the way. So much love to pulseX, the forgotten child. I think it's going to do just fine. Yeah, let's take a look at gopulse.com. Part of the reason is the buy and burn. 453 billion pulseX buy and burned. Yeah, so right this second, Hex is up the least, but if you look at the candles, like Hex is up the most. This is just at this current moment in time over the past 24 hours ago. But on the daily candle, Hex is up the most. Once again, INC and pulseX are doing a little better than Pulse and Hex, which goes contrary to my thesis. So big shout out to Brazology. Brazology is a big fan of the INC token. I'm sure he's very happy today. It's up. I think it went under $1 briefly. Now we're up at $1.15. So if you bought INC, congratulations to you. But I don't like the INC. Just saying. Okay. Oh, we got to refresh. Let's look at our Hex daily stats. Starting with let's start with Pulse Chain. Pulse Chain, changing current stakers 8, changing current holders 31. Nice. Let's start. Then we go to eHex. eHex had 1 changing current holders and added 3 stakers. So added 3 in comparison to 8 and added 1 in comparison to Hex on Pulse Chain, 31. Hex on Pulse Chain. That's the place to go, guys. In my non-financial advice opinion. What's the ratio looking like? I haven't checked the ratios in a while, and I've put a moratorium on the scoreboard, but I'm checking the ratios right now. I want to see how I'm doing. Very, very vindicated. It's not a jab at anyone. $2.4 to 1. I think we're going to 3 to 1 soon, but that all depends. Brazology went in on INC at about 95, 97 cents. It's a pretty good move. Well, congratulations. I'm happy for you. I didn't, but I am certainly happy for you because we want everyone to do well here. You know, that's really what we want. Like, even if that means that the eHex people do well, I think that's great. I just don't think they're going to do as well as the Hex people. Okay, but INC, congratulations, Brazology. Now time to sell it for Hex. Kidding. You do your own thing. Everyone has to make their own decision. And what's going on, JRB? Okay. First thing I wanted to talk about, and JRB, I haven't seen you here, so I hope that you are subscribed. But nice to see you. 30 people watching. Not getting quite the viewership as our prime time 12 p.m. spot, but we'll have to make do because I couldn't make it at 12. Crypto Elite says if eHex goes to 10 cents, you got a more percentage versus $1 pHex, right? Well, let's find out. No, you don't. No, you don't. If eHex goes to 10 cents right now, the ratio is 2.4 to 1. If eHex goes to 10 cents, it will do as well as if pHex went to 24 cents. 24 cents, not $1. Also, another thing to keep in mind is the liquidity, right? The liquidity on eHex is like 800,000 USDC. It's like nothing. Like there's no liquidity there. So if you're a whale at that point, even if you're not a whale now, you might be a whale when it reaches 10 cents. If it reaches 10 cents, you're not going to be able to cash out as much as you would be with pHex. So effectively, if it goes to 10 cents, it's probably not even as good as if pHex goes straight to 10 cents. If you're a whale, you know, like it would have to like outperform considerably in order to be a better choice if you're a whale, because there's no liquidity there. There's no liquidity, there's no staking, and far fewer onboards. Mr. Crypto Elite. LP doesn't matter. It used to be nothing first few days as well. It's illusion. That's the reason EX was a scheme. No, it does matter. What are you talking about? Of course it matters. EX used to have millions in liquidity, and now it has like 800,000. So yeah, of course it matters. Of course liquidity matters. What's up, Crypto Bigfoot? Big shout out to Crypto Bigfoot. All right, 37 people watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And let's get into the first thing was BitBoy Crypto. We talked about BitBoy Crypto yesterday. BitBoy Crypto obviously got arrested, and he had a stream yesterday. And my reaction was pretty much the same. My reaction was pretty much the same as it was yesterday. You know, just like this guy is a proven liar. You know, he's a lot of his things that he said have been proven to be false. You know, and I don't really believe anything he says. I'm not saying everything he says is false, but I just don't trust him in comparison to the other people. And I'm not even saying the other people are good. They may or may not be scumbags also. But what I really didn't like was he was doing the crying thing. And it's so funny how he says like everyone's manipulative, like TJ's manipulative. And it's just like he was doing that. He gets on the camera and he just cries. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Throwing all your friends under the bus and then trying to threw Wendy O under the bus. He threw Altcoin Daily under the bus for doing nothing. Oh, and he even admitted he didn't even know what Wendy said. So basically, he chastised Wendy O without even being informed. This guy's just a big joke, honestly. And he's shilled scams and all those sort of things. So yeah, I'm not into him, and I really didn't like that he was crying. It just rubbed me the wrong way. It's like he has his big mansion, he has his Rolexes, he has assets that he can sell, but he's asking his fans for money, and he's putting on this whole like crying thing, which he did when he made the video of him saying that he was sorry. You know, he did the same crying thing, and then he took back everything he said once he realized that he's not getting his channel back. So he's just a big phony, and he's really the manipulator, honestly. Look at me, I'm crying. Feel bad for me, even though I screwed up so many times. Look at me, I'm crying. I didn't like it. So that's what I'd say about BitBoy. I don't want to dwell on BitBoy anymore. I think he's a huge clout chaser. He's been very dishonest with regard to this story and with regards to his business. You know, paying for play. You know, shilling scam coins for a quick buck, and wrecking people. He's just a big sleazebag, honestly. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. And I think for now he's getting clout because everybody just sort of wants to see this drama. But the second that this drama's over and it's settled, I don't think anyone's going to really care about him anymore. And it's going to be hard. He really threw his friends under the bus. I mean, everyone's out to get him. He's never wrong. So that was the BitBoy thing, okay? What are you guys saying? Crypto Elite. Brizology. If BitBoy will cheat on his wife, the mother of his children, he's willing to cheat out the money with coin. Yeah, true. Caught with, yeah. He's making his wife look stupid also. She stayed with him, then he's out at night. And he was also talking about how he needs a prescription for Adderall or whatever for ADD medication, after he said he was never on drugs. I mean, that sort of confirms maybe what they were alleging, that he was asking his assistant for Adderall. And also, like, he was taking the diet pills to get like the speed effect. I mean, him saying publicly that he has ADHD and needs medication, that sort of validates it. I mean, it's not proof, but kind of makes you think like maybe it is true. So yeah, he's a mess, and I hope he goes to rehab, and I hope he repents and gets the people he cheated their money back. And I hope things are okay. I hope he maybe gets tried and whatever. I think he should face consequences for doing the pay for play, and shilling scams like Pampcoin and bullying people into not talking about it with lawsuits. I think he should get tried for that and serve some time or pay some money or whatever. And I hope he gets that straight. I hope he goes to rehab and gets his life straight. But I don't see a future for him in crypto. He just doesn't deserve to be a reputable source of information after this. The only thing is, he's been very benevolent to the ecosystem that we're in, to his credit. But I don't know. Does that excuse everything else that he does? I don't think so. So yeah, that was the BitBoy crypto take. Hit the like button and subscribe. Dude, Crypto Elite, you are just wrong. The LP was millions, and then everyone pulled their liquidity. People don't want to give liquidity for eHex, and they do want to give liquidity for Pulse and obviously pHex and stuff. I'm just saying things could change theoretically, but just look at the numbers on chain. Look at where the onboards are going. I mean, that tells you where the future is. So yeah, that's what I'd say. I'm done with the whole fighting about it, though. I mean, everyone's gonna have to make a decision. It wasn't millions in day one, yes, but now we're in year 3 or year 4. The liquidity left. It left for Pulse Chain. Whatever. All right. What was next? Okay. So the main story that everyone's talking about is the SEC lawsuit. So I did some research. None of this is legal advice. You guys all have to talk to a lawyer if you want any legal advice. Do your own research, do your own legal research. But I figured we have to cover what's going on and maybe provide some clarity. First is the Richard Hart tweets. Actually, sorry, Richard Hart tweets, which was we got this. Hex, Pulse Chain, pulseX are truly decentralized. Many things in cryptocurrency are decentralized in name only. Check out these zip files that let you run the Hex code from your desktop. Feel free to inspect the code, as it has been from day one in Hex. There's always been multiple sites for multiple teams on multiple code bases in multiple places that you can choose to run the code you wish, even on multiple networks now. True. So yeah, that was the first tweet, which was just, I guess, trying to prove that Hex is not a security and is sufficiently decentralized. But then this really could really bridge us into the main story of the legal situation. So Richard tweeted, or whoever's managing Richard Hart's Twitter account, because it's in third person, attorneys. Richard Hart is here to help. Regulatory agencies must consider all relevant comments. Consider, quote, consider means, so it says here, entirely fail to consider an important aspect of the problem offered. So consider. Offer an explanation for its decision. Okay, just quoting that. So they need to consider means that you might think they must explain in writing what they relied on. Consider means more than you might think. They must explain in writing what they relied on, a reasoned basis for such, and they must not have failed to consider any important aspect. If they don't, they can be found. If they don't, meaning if they don't consider everything, they can be found arbitrary and capricious by the courts and their rules undone. Substantive, relevant comments lead to better rules or no new rules, as it mandates regulators to do a better job. Basically, if you make relevant a substantive comment and they don't respond to it, it can invalidate the rule they made. Now that AI exists, it's easier than ever to verify your comments are relevant and substantive. I've seen anonymous comments submitted by web form in the official record. Google it. Furthermore, reading like Richard Hart now. Furthermore, the court might find that the agency didn't provide you with good enough reasoning in their proposed rule for you to even make a reasonable comment about, which is a different type of APA violation. Basically, the APA has lots of rules the agency must follow to the letter or risk being overturned in court. Smart lawyers are referencing those rules in some of their comments. I've heard that by making more obvious the deficiencies in the agency's notices, that if they make a bad rule final, that it might be easier in court to have it overturned, as you can show the judge what they ignored, what they violated, what they didn't reason about properly, and what they failed to disclose. Then it's easier for the judge to rule against them, as the agency's violation are made more obvious. Here's an example of a comment. Okay. Whatever. He's basically saying that all relevant and substantive comments must be considered. Okay, so if they don't consider relevant and substantive comments, then the judge will rule against them, like the SEC. Right? Because they're arbitrary and capricious. I think he's quoting, that's what the ruling was for XRP. XRP, arbitrary and capricious. Ripple's lawyer. Yeah, right here. Where is it? Yeah, right here. In a grayscale lawsuit, federal judges have criticized the SEC's assertions as arbitrary and capricious. Okay, there you go. So basically, he's saying that you can go make the case that I think he's saying, he's not directly talking about his cases because he apparently doesn't know about his cases, right? Either we can speculate, and we do speculate, that he's trying to avoid getting served, so he can't have knowledge. But So I guess he's speaking for like Ripple and Grayscale, and that too can be translated to the SEC court case against Richard Hart and Hex and Pulse Chain. And he's saying if you want to win, make comments that are substantive and relevant, making the case that your crypto, in this case Hex and Pulse Chain, but Ripple, XRP, whatever, Grayscale is not a security. Or Richard Hart did not defraud investors. And if you make the case, it will be considered. And if there's not a legitimate rebuttal to your case, or if it's not addressed at all, then the court case can be entirely thrown out because it can be found arbitrary and capricious by the court and their rules undone. So I guess you can call it a call to action. Let's see. Oh, there was another tweet I missed where he's telling people to submit it. Yeah, important. Comment period ends 10/30/23, and he gives the link. You can also request to speak at the public hearing. Blah, 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 blah. Let your voice be heard. Submit your relevant and substantive comment now. The sooner you start, the sooner the regulators can be educated by you, and fellow commenters may be inspired by reading your public comment as well. You have all the tools you need to make a positive impact. Yeah, go submit your comments, use AI, blah, 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 in order to be heard and considered. I guess it can be done with regard to the Richard Hart lawsuit, and it could be done with regard to any other lawsuit. He's talking in general. He's not talking about his case in particular. We don't even know if he's been noticed about his case. Maybe he is, maybe he's not aware. Okay? That's what Richard's been saying. Lawyers, everything you think you knew about cryptocurrency and blockchain is wrong. The laws regarding what you possess and what you know are wildly different, as they should be. You can possess a cryptocurrency. It's not possessible. When someone steals your purse, you don't have it anymore. They do. When someone steals your private key, you still have it because a private key isn't something you have. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get it. This is a very, very long thing. We'll get to the TLDR. We're too lazy. Don't read. Cryptocurrency is something you know, not something you have. A crypto wallet is a keychain. It doesn't hold money. It holds keys. When you transfer crypto, you didn't actually transfer anything. The things are still right there, still right where they always were. Years of wrong thinking about mathematical facts needs to be amended in the halls of power. The job of an educator is an wholesome one. Okay. Great. More Richard Hart vague, opaque tweets that were left to decipher and figure out exactly what he's saying, which is really, I guess, frustrating a lot of people. But yeah, that's really the rundown for his tweets. So with that being said, we can take a look at your chats real quick. Hex staking site not loading. I don't know. What's up, Westcott Crypto? Big shout out. Humberto, big win coming our way. What's going on? Mitz Crypto Arts and Ted Jakonski. Hope you guys all smash the like button, subscribe. Okay, let's get into the main story, which is like how is this SEC thing going to play out? If you guys haven't been watching this stream, it is speculated that what Richard Hart is doing is he's trying to avoid getting served, right? He's trying to avoid the subpoena. People speculate he's hiding in order to maybe postpone the court case. And while this precedent is established with ongoing court cases. So you have like Grayscale right now is fighting the SEC. That's a crypto case. It could be precedent. Ripple especially is prevalent. If that is looking like it's getting a good ruling as far as being a security, so that could establish a precedent. Once those precedents are established, it would make for a better court case or settlement for Richard Hart. He'd be in a more advantageous position. I mean, that's really what we're speculating. So if you look at, and I said this many times, but if you look at if you look at Richard Hart's Twitter, first of all, it might not even be Richard Hart tweeting. He's saying he's not even on Twitter anymore. And he's saying like lawyers, like Richard Hart, and it's speaking in third person. It also says Richard does not read messages, email, newspaper, magazines, letters, communication, or any form, or listen to the radio. And people speculate that the reason he's saying it is to send a message that you can't subpoena me, because basically they try and deliver it to your house. And if it doesn't go to your house, then they try and maybe send you a message. They email it to you. They put out newspaper ads, magazine ads, radio ads in your local station, local to your area, whatever. And that's how they can make the case that you were given notice. So it's preemptively saying he doesn't look at any of these things. So he can't get served. And the court case, after 120 days, when did the lawsuit, when was the lawsuit filed? We have it here. The lawsuit was filed July 31st. So it's almost 2 months. That would mean 2 more months. If he doesn't get notice, then the case could be thrown out, which it probably won't, more likely refiled. But throughout this time, there could be better precedent established, is what we're speculating. Could also be maybe he's just trying to hide. He doesn't want to face court. Could also be, by the way, it's possible maybe he just literally doesn't read messages, email, newspaper, magazines, letters, communication of any form. Maybe he's taking a technology detox and he's at some Zen site in the middle of the forest in Azerbaijan or some sort of random thing like that, I mean, maybe that's the reason he wasn't given notice. But the point is, he wasn't given notice. So we have the pretrial is set for November 28th. That's when we're probably going to get a better idea of what's going on. But let me just point out some stuff from my research that I was looking at. Okay, so you have the lawsuit. The first thing is that based on the lawsuit, it really looks like that it's all dependent. The first allegation is unregistered securities issuance. Then it goes to wash trading and defrauding investors. But basically, all those seemingly, from what I see and from asking around and doing research, in order for the wash trading allegation and the defrauding investors allegation to hold up in court, it is dependent on Hex and Pulse Chain and pulseX being actually securities, being ruled as securities. So the first thing is that's what is going to be determined in court. Are they or are they not securities? So it's like if you'd like there's no answer you could really get. There are previous cases in which cryptos were ruled securities. And there are also previous cases in which cryptos were ruled not securities. And most prevalent with cryptos that were ruled not securities, you have Bitcoin, and you have most recently, hopefully, XRP and Ethereum. I think is not. That's still like nobody really knows. But you also have cryptos that were ruled securities. I think Terra Luna and EOS and a bunch of others were ruled securities, and they got slaps on the wrist. They got fines. So, I mean, there's no way of knowing. Obviously, I would argue that it's pretty hard to argue that Hex, especially, is a security. It's got a pass all 4 legs of the Howey test. Hex, the way I see it, it fails all 4. And I certainly don't think Pulse and pulseX pass all 4. Might not fail all 4, but it doesn't seem like it passes. Takes a lot to be deemed a security, but definitely there would be obviously, I think Richard's side is going to argue, look, you have Bitcoin, it's not a security. You have XRP, it's not a security. And like XRP has probably more features, security-like features than Hex or Pulse Chain or anything like that. So, I mean, that's going to be hashed out in court if it goes to court. The centralized ownership, I mean, that is an argument that the court is going to make to say it's a security, but obviously the protocol is very decentralized. That's an argument it's not a security. And as far as the language, I think Richard has been very particular about the language. He's someone who really knows the law very much. Like, for a non-lawyer, he really knows the law very well, and he's picked his language very specifically to ensure that to the best of his ability that the coins that he created are not securities. You know, the language like no expectation of profit from the work of others, solely based on the work of others. He even said solely based on the work of others, finished product, yada, yada, yada. Have no expectations of anyone to do anything for you. And it could go to zero. You know, he said it even could go to zero. So the language may or may not exonerate him, but it's definitely a powerful argument. And then you have fraud. Like, one of the cases that he defrauded investors. So what makes it fraud? First of all, it has to be a security. Then it says what a reasonable person would derive from what he said. It's based on what a reasonable person would derive from what he said. Were there any omissions? Were there any important omissions or misstatements on Richard's part that would mislead a reasonable person? You know, that would be considered fraud. I don't see any. Okay, so even if Hex were a security, it seems very hard to argue that he defrauded investors. You know, fraud is something very hard to argue. The money from the sacrifice, whether or not it was spent on his personal things, you would have to argue that he defrauded people. Like, he led people to think that that money was going to be used to build the ecosystem or something, or to reward sacrificers or investors, whatever you want to call it. You know, I mean, like, that would be hard to argue. He said numerous times, like, no one is entitled to that money. What happens with it happens. It's not yours anymore. You're giving it up for a political statement. So I don't see really fraud. I don't know much about the wash trading thing. I don't know enough about it, to be honest, but that also stands on Hex being a security. So we'll see. We'll have to see how that plays out. And none of this is legal advice. Okay, go talk to your own legal expert or do your own research. But I guess what it comes down to now, so we got to go to like what's happening now. So first thing is Richard Hart stopped streaming. Okay, we got to go through the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. So Richard Hart stopped streaming upon people receiving letters from the SEC, and maybe he did receive a letter. I don't know, but it seems like he saw the writing on the wall that they were coming after him, and he shouldn't talk publicly, and anything that he says would be held against him. That is supposedly, according to many people that have, some sort of knowledge of this, and according to my research, very smart, very, very smart, that he stopped streaming. And he went to Twitter, saying things, very carefully prepared statements, with a lot of consideration for the law, as opposed to like a stream, which is very off the cuff. You don't want to do that. So that what he did there was very smart. So what you see really happening there is like people were frustrated, like, why isn't he streaming? Is he gone forever? And then you see the lawsuit drop and you're like, okay, he's really thinking ahead of the curve. You like to see that. He was thinking ahead of the curve. Not streaming was the right thing to do. Now there's speculation where he's evading a service. Okay, he doesn't want to get served. Maybe that could lead to the case being thrown out and having to be refiled. That's what maybe people are hoping. So with that, seemingly, it's an interesting thing. Based on my research, which is not legal advice, and you have to all do your own research and talk to a lawyer, there are instances where evading a service can go under the radar, where if you evade service, the case could even get thrown out and maybe you never have to deal with it, or maybe you could buy time. I mean, there are instances where it happens. But there are also instances where the court honors other methods of service. Okay, if the effort was substantial and it seems realistic and true that the person being subpoenaed has gotten notice, then the court can just say that, we're going forward with the trial. And the instances where people really get off evading a subpoena are usually smaller cases. And it seems like this is a major case. The SEC tweeted about this case. They do that very rarely. There's tons of lawsuits there are tons of lawsuits. There are tons of court cases the SEC files and engages in. They rarely tweet about this. So this is a major case. So it seems based on that it's not going to do anything, and they're going to move forward with the trial, despite maybe technically him not getting served. That's what I heard. I mean, the thing is, cases where they move forward could be different. They could be different. Every case is different. Could be under this specific set of certain circumstances. Maybe the court doesn't move forward. Maybe it gets thrown out. Maybe it's refiled. Maybe they buy time. I mean, gotta hope that Richard knows something we don't. And usually he has. I mean, pretty much every time he has. Like whenever people really doubted him, they ended up being proven wrong. So that's the thing. I also, I'm praising him about, him not streaming. Was told by someone who dealt with SEC that if you avoid a service, it's not a good look. It could lead to it just doesn't look so professional. Okay, it's definitely not good also for the morale in the community. It's like now we're just in this state of ignorance. We're hoping and praying that it's going to turn out well, but we don't know exactly what's going on. We don't know anything. And that's sort of what Silver the Antidote said. We're left there to sort of decode the Da Vinci tweets. And that's frustrating. Like, I'm not going to make it like it's not frustrating. It is frustrating. So that's really what I'd say about that. As far as the evading the service, it seems, that it's not going to do anything. The case is too big, but again, we have to consider that Richard might know things that we don't know. So based on what I've asked people, seems not so good, but at the same time, we're hoping the 4D chess, but we're completely in the dark. No one's in contact with him, and he hasn't spoken publicly about this. So, charity. They're raising money for charity. I don't think that helps, but it's nice. Charity is nice. But I guess the next thing is whether this is going to go to trial. So whether or not this would go to trial or there would be a settlement, there are a lot of people saying that he's for sure going to settle, and a lot of people are saying that he's for sure going to take it to trial. He's going to fight it. Everybody seems like they know, but the reality is that nobody really knows, because we just don't know. That's going to have to really play out. So someone asked earlier, when's the trial going to be? So after this November 28th pre-trial, which is in 2 months from tomorrow, it could take a year or more for it to actually go to trial. These things take a long time. Okay, that's what I heard. It could take a very long time to go to trial, and it's a dragged out process. But we will see, probably, I think by then, whether or not they're going to move forward, or they're going to have to throw it out, or whether or not they get Richard served by then, whatever. But basically, whether or not Richard fights it, it's a cost-benefit analysis. It just comes down to how much money would it cost to settle, and what are sort of the parameters of the settlement. For example, let's say it costs let's say like $10 million to settle, versus if it goes to trial, you'll end up spending like 50 million or 100 million in legal fees and lawyer fees and time and stress and all those things to potentially get a good ruling maybe in 3 years. I mean, you might just want to pay the fine and move on. But also, paying the fine could mean that Hex gets ruled a security, and like what happens if Hex is a security? What are the expenses? And what are the rules moving forward? Is Richard Hart allowed to talk about it? Is he liable legally? Does he have obligations? I don't know. It's just very complicated, and we'll have to see the cost-benefit analysis of that. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, I think. Cost-benefit analysis. But yeah, I mean, the overall thing is it's going to be cost-benefit analysis. It's going to take a long time if this goes through trial. Could be ultimately better, could be ultimately worse. But right now we're just sort of in this limbo where we're speculating and we have no information coming out. And a lot of people are frustrated by it, and it's certainly showing on the chart. We're just in this state of fog. It's just all speculation, and we have to wait for clarity. But I guess what other choice do we have than to wait? I mean, I was thinking to myself when I came in here, I did give a timeline. I said, according to the cycle, which has been playing out, the bear market that we are experiencing is playing out very, very in line with the cycle theory. The bottom was put in around when Bitcoin usually bottoms, and it's looking like we're doing that consolidation, and we're, that sort of happens until there's the Bitcoin halving, and then there's a bull market. So Hex's price chart isn't the exception. It's gone down more than many alts, but that's due to the SEC, which is what it is. But we are at that point of consolidation, and we're expecting a bull market in the beginning of 2023, starting in the beginning of 2024, maybe starting Q1 or Q2 2024. We gotta wait. We gotta just give it time. As far as what Richard's doing, it looks frustrating. I get it, but I keep repeating this, but he has come through every time. We have no expectation from the work of others, but every time, there was uncertainty in the ecosystem, and uncertainty of whether or not Richard was really in it to win it or doing the right thing, whatever. It always came out in his favor. So like in the beginning, everyone thought he was a scammer. Everyone thought Hex would never come out. He came out. Everyone thought that he'd pull the rug. He didn't. Everyone thought that it wouldn't do a 10,000x in under 2 years like he said it would. And it did. And then, Pulse Chain, everyone thought that he just took the money for that and ran. And there's no Pulse Chain. And Pulse Chain came out. And it's just like people said he couldn't go to the US. He came into the US. So I'm saying like he's always done well and done right. But, I think this in this instance, it is a little bit more difficult, to really stick around, because this is prolonged. The state of uncertainty is longer than anything else, and there's good reason for it, obviously. And the price chart is down a lot. So and people are getting frustrated. People are expressing their frustration on social media. I think probably the biggest case that I've seen is Brandon B, who I love. And a lot of times, you sort of have that urge that, you want to join in expressing that frustration. It's easy to express that frustration now. It's natural. But Richard is in a peculiar situation, and his hands are tied to an extent. So, I don't know. There is also the possibility that all that FUD is not true. Is that all that FUD, is true? Technically it's possible. Maybe Richard is just running away and he has no plan. And everyone has to make their own individual decision. But from what I see, the case looks good, and what Richard has done until now has been good and been right. And he is someone who sees things in their entirety, and he's able to make decisions that people may not understand now, but in the long run, they're well thought out, and they generally lead to victories and lead to playing out in his favor. And I think this is, albeit the toughest situation, I think that it's not the exception. But everybody has to do their own research and come to their own decision. But if you look at where we're going through now, and I wish that we didn't have to be going through this. I wish we didn't have to be going through this much pain, and this much uncertainty. But every crypto that's made it has had the same thing. What we're doing is what everyone's doing, and that's no guarantee that it's going to make it. But if you want to make it, and if you want the extraordinary wealth achieved in crypto, you need to experience this. This is no guarantee, but how could you be complaining? These instances of uncertainty and legal bottleneck and issues and price being down, it's par for the course in achieving success in crypto. Anybody that does, unless you literally get really lucky and some friend tells you to buy at the exact bottom, and you put in a lot of money, and then like you just ride it up only for a long time. But usually those people cash out early because they're not real believers. They're not long-term holders. So the long-term holders that made it in Bitcoin and made it in Ethereum and made it in BNB and many other cryptos that were successful, although most cryptos weren't successful, but the ones that they had to go through this sort of thing. The case is not exactly the same, but like it's frustrating because people think that Richard can be making it easier. He can be, but like we don't know that. And stuff like that. But like when you look at Bitcoin, like, yeah, Satoshi was gone. I mean, Satoshi was gone. So like, and there's no precedent of other successful cryptos, at Bitcoin's time. The likelihood was it would go down forever. So yeah, the case is not exactly parallel. And it's a little frustrating here because we know Richard's around and we want more clarity and we want to see him more. But at the same time, unlike Bitcoin, unlike Bitcoin in its early days, in its inception, there is precedent of successful cryptos that could tell us that, this has a chance of coming back and coming back very hard. So Bitcoiners had to go through that, and I think it was a lot worse. Satoshi gone, price down, Mt. Gox, all those sort of things. Ethereum also. I mean, there was a lot less precedent, and there were a lot of scams on it. There was a lot of regulatory concerns. There was a grueling bear market. So I mean, that's it. That's just, it is what it is. You're in crypto. You have to look at the situation. You have to say, okay, yeah, it sucks and the price is down. Are there any other cryptos that have a better risk reward, and make your decision? I don't think so. Just from my experience in crypto, which it's been a couple of years, this is the place to be. I mean, every other one is just sort of riddled with all this, just a bunch of shady people sort of trying to exit on everyone else. And none had like the honesty and integrity that this one did. And it's tough what we're going through, but the community's still there. And it's not like the OA pulled the liquidity, pulled the rug. I mean, that hasn't happened. So I think it's just a difficult speed bump on the way to higher highs and more upside. I mean, I just think that's what it is. But obviously we have to be realistic people. There has to be a point in time. We can't just be, so like I saw this, when I was in XRP, that was the first coin I was into. There was this YouTuber like Alex Cobb, and XRP had that run up to like 350 or something, and it went down, and there was speculation throughout that bear market, and even during the bull market, it was going to $589. I remember watching like YouTube videos all the way back, like in 2018, him saying like, yeah, 589 could be around by maybe like 2020, 2021. And that never happened. And like people are still waiting for their $500 XRP. And like, I don't want to, and he's still like, he's not saying about 589 in particular, but he's still very bullish on XRP, and I wouldn't want to be one of those YouTubers that's just, bull market comes and there's massive returns in every crypto, and my crypto doesn't do anything, and then I, through thick and thin, of crypto, I stick with it, and my coin does nothing. Like there is a point where you accept the reality potion and maybe you move on with your life. If I'd move on with my life, I don't think it would be in any other crypto. Maybe I'll whatever, like, I don't even know if I'd sell at this point. I just let it go and see what happens. But I don't see any other crypto ecosystem with the risk reward. And like the only ones that are decent plays are like blue chips, where there's not sort of crypto wealth to be obtained at this point. I mean, you're maxing out maybe effectively at a 10x for Ethereum. From bottom to top, it might do more than a 10x, but your effective ROI, you're buying at a 3x. You're not getting out at the top. You'll probably get like a 3-4x max. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, I don't see myself going anywhere else. The case looks strong. There is data to rely on that Richard is well thought out, and he's 4D chessing. I mean, we do have to hope that there is. I know we hate the 4D chess thing, but we do have to hope that there's 4D chess sort of involved right now to an extent. And we do see the community is still strong, and we do have to believe that it's still going to do well. And then you look at like the case, it's strong. The case that Hex and Pulse Chain aren't securities is strong. I think the allegations are weak from what I see. There are some things that I see and I can't understand, but I'm hoping that Richard has a better understanding and he's doing what's right, as he has done before. But so I'm still very, very bullish and very optimistic, and that's why I'm still purchasing. But at the same time, I mean, it can't go on forever. And if all the cryptos come back and we're not moving, then yeah, I mean, there would have to be a point where I move on. But I said in maybe June, it was in June, that I was in it till Q1 of 2024, and that's not changing. Never expected massive upside until Q1 2024 anyway. So from what I see, this is just an opportunity, and I'm very optimistic based on all my research. But we'll have to see. Even if Richard decides to fight it, I could still see good upside, because like people would say like, oh, you look at XRP, the lawsuit ruined it, but Ripple's always dumping XRP, and XRP already reached its peak of notoriety in the crypto space, and everybody bought it. It was showing on like NBC. Like Hex is still very fringe. There's a lot of upside to be achieved, even through like regulatory issues and bottleneck and birth pains, so to speak. I think there could be exceptional upside, whether or not there's a settlement. Settlement is going to have to be determined based on, risk reward, upside, downside, settling versus not settling. But in any case, I think there's exceptional price potential in spite of which way Richard goes. So yeah, that's it. I mean, we're doing our time. Okay. We're doing our time. And I think based on what I see, I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to be more than fine. But it's hard for people to see. And another thing is what I've heard also, like if anyone's contacted by the SEC with regard to this, go talk to a lawyer. I know Freddie Quotes is on, and he said that you don't have to talk to a lawyer and you're not obligated to do anything. I think it's better to talk to a lawyer from what I've heard. You don't know what you're getting into. You want to talk to people that know what's going on and that have like experience with these things and know the law, know what you can and cannot do. So that's what I'd say also for anyone in that situation. Yeah, that's the rundown really. That's the rundown. I hope that made sense. I hope that was clear. But yeah, that's as far as how it goes for the SEC thing. Smash the like button, subscribe. But Brazology said he posted a new meme on Twitter. Could I do a review and a reaction? Sure. Here, let me pull it up. It's definitely of me. Oh, it's not. Okay, here's the meme of Brazology. If you guys aren't following him on Twitter, you got to be following him on Twitter. Richard's on the train. Ooh, an artist. Wow, I wonder what he's drawing. Is he drawing me? And then it says Hex. That's good. It's good. 10 out of 10. Oh, where is Richard though? How ancient are you guys following at Brizology? You guys should be following at Brizology. Big shout out to Brizology, the OG. The OG. He's very good at Twitter also. Great. He has great Twitter chops. But yeah, I mean, it seems ancient, you know, the days where Richard Hart was corresponding regularly. He would just like go on anyone's stream. Those days are ancient, and it seems like it'll never come back. But these things change very quickly, and if you wait for things to change for the positive, I think probably you might miss it. So yeah. But yeah, let's go take a look at your chats. 57 people watching, so hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I hope everyone is not invested more than they can afford to lose, and I hope people are increasing their productivity. I hope people are looking for jobs or working, so they can have money to take care of themselves and also maybe accumulate if that's what they so choose. Richard's focused on crypto law from what I can see, along with most of the world of crypto lately, due to the incompetent SEC. We have all become lawyers in the bear market and will win our cases in the bull market. Yeah. True. Big shout out to Ash. Gensler may get ousted before, and then this is thrown out soon. That's my guess. If he's ousted, I don't think he gets thrown out. I don't think he's really actively involved in this. I think he has he's probably more involved in the bigger cases, even though this is a big case. Gensler on the hot seat this morning, and they may start to subpoena the SEC as SEC is not doing their job. Gensler was given 10 weeks to do the review, provided no document, so they will most likely subpoena him. Interesting. Yeah, aren't we appreciative for the SEC for keeping us safe, protecting our investment? Oh, we got some good protection when that lawsuit dropped. Oh, my investment got some good protection. Yeah, we love the SEC for that. But yeah, they do some good work. I'm not trying to say like everything they do is bad, but I don't see how that's helping investors. Check tweet. I linked 1 minute, 30-second video. Which tweet? It's on your Twitter. Oh. This one. The U.S. Congressman. Congressman to SEC, Gensler, you have serious questions to answer to the public and Congress. We intend to get your compliance. We can do it the easy way or the hard way. He's playing hardball now. Watch your Doc Guru. Oh, here. I'm gotta unshare and share. Present. Share screen. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
In February, the committee made multiple requests for documents to the Securities Exchange Commission. This is normal congressional oversight. Yet 7 months later, the committee has not received a single non-public document that was not part of a FOIA production. As I said, our patience is wearing thin. The SEC is not above the law, nor is it unique. Other financial regulators have routinely complied with congressional oversight. So let me be clear. I do not want to be the first chairman of this committee to issue a subpoena to the Securities Exchange Commission. And you should not want to be the first SEC chair to receive a congressional subpoena. Either we find a path forward where the SEC recognizes Congress as a co-equal branch of government and is responsive to our oversight duties, or my option is to issue a subpoena. It's time for you to consider the lasting consequences of your actions, and what that means to the Securities Exchange Commission's reputation long term. While your time in this role may be temporary, the repercussions for your actions may be permanent for the agency.
I don't know. It sounds just like, honestly, it sounds like a lot of that, congressional hearing hot air that never really amounts to anything. Just sort of that theater. They've been saying Gensler's out. Gensler's going to be out. Gensler's been saying that for like years already. I mean, I don't know. Let's just hope that this thing plays out very well. But yeah, long stream today, 1 hour, 11 minutes. But big shout out to Ash on Twitter. He's also an OG. But yeah, we're doing our time, guys. Okay, I mean, we're doing our time. We do our time. Things don't work out, fine. But I mean, what do we expect right now? 10,000 X's, rates are at like over 5%. Everything in crypto is just down, except Bitcoin and Ethereum. But all the alts are down. And if you look at like the halving track, like this is really looking like typical, cycle. Typical cycle price action. The price bottomed at 15,500 and we're up like 37% on the year. I mean, things look like they're going according to the plan, but stay tuned, okay? Stay tuned. One thing we did learn, though, is that there is no hex decorrelation, okay? We did learn that. We learned it. Many people speculated, even Richard speculated like he could thrive in a bear market. It didn't. But you know what? If you're staked and you locked in that T-share rate and you're earning this entire time, if it comes back, you are thriving. And maybe take a look at your staking ladders, see how much more hex you've gotten. Maybe it'll surprise you. I don't know. All right, guys. That's it for today's stream. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out the Patreon. Link is in the description. I'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. Have a great rest of your day.